When it comes to the nut industry, almonds and walnuts take centre stage due to their large production scale and high global demand. Recent reports show that almonds are the most widely grown nut, with California producing 80% of the world's supply. This state, along with China, dominates the walnut market. On top of that, cashews are another nut with a very different harvesting and processing method compared to almonds and walnuts, mainly because they contain a poisonous chemical in the shell. That's why they're quite expensive when exported to the US, with 1 pound of whole cashews selling for as much as $16. So how do these nut farms and processing facilities work? Let's take a closer look in this video. First, we will visit the almond farm. California almonds owe much of their success to the temperature difference of about 58 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit between summer and winter. Experts estimate that it takes around 1 gallon of water to produce a single almond. So with modern irrigation systems in place, it's no surprise that California produces over 2.5 billion pounds of almonds every year. When harvest time comes, specialized machines called shakers clamp onto the trunks of each tree and shake it vigorously, causing the almonds to fall like rain to the ground. The farmers then let the nuts dry naturally for 4 to 7 days before running a sweeper machine over them to gather them into rows. This helps to prepare the nuts for a different collection machine, equipped with sensors that remove most of the dirt and debris. From there, the almonds are sent to large stockpiles, where they are fumigated for around 2 days, then to be stored for processing. This facility's daily task is to handle over 20,000 pounds of almonds. Once the almonds are cleaned of dirt, rocks and twigs, the shelling process begins. The nuts are vibrated and rubbed repeatedly so that the almonds inside easily separate from the shell. Then they pass through holes designed so that only the almond kernel can fall through. This process is repeated around 8 times with progressively smaller holes to ensure the shell is fully separated. After that is the sorting process, which is done both by machine and manually. The almonds are sifted through vibrating screens to sort them by size, again using the same hole filling method as when separating the shells, and then an optical sorting machine. Once approved, the remaining almonds are packed and shipped to various factories to create a wide range of almond products. Do you know why they're dumping millions of these crushed almonds into the chocolate? Why, it's to make the outer coating for millions of ice cream bars. We're at an ice cream factory, and nuts are essential for making the ice cream more delicious and the eating experience more interesting. This chocolate nut bath is very cold, so once they're dipped in, the coating instantly freezes. After that, the ice cream will be packaged. To prevent the ice cream from melting, the entire ice cream production process must be kept at a very cold temperature. Would you like to try a day working in an ice cream factory? Along with almonds, walnuts also thrive in the Mediterranean climates like those found in California and China. However, unlike almonds, which rely on bees for pollination, walnuts are wind pollinated. Another key difference is the walnuts must be shelled right after harvest, rather than being stored in stockpiles like almonds. At the end of the hot season, when the husk of the walnut begins to split open, farmers start the harvest process. Once again, the shaker machines are used to clamp onto the tree trunks and shake thousands of walnuts loose in just a few seconds. After they fall to the ground, they're swept into rows by a sweeper machine and then collected by a harvester. Each plant typically stores around 1.6 million pounds of walnuts during the harvest season. Using a similar vibrating hole sorting system, the plant separates whole walnuts from walnut halves at the end of the production line. The walnuts are then thoroughly cleaned and dried in large air dryers to reduce moisture to around 8%. This ensures that they stay fresh throughout the packaging and export process. Now we will explore the nuts that you have been waiting for. Unlike almonds and walnuts, cashews thrive in tropical regions with warm temperatures and consistent rainfall throughout the year. That's why countries like Vietnam, India, and the Ivory Coast dominate global cashew production, contributing nearly 70% of the world's supply. But without intensive, precise processing, these nuts wouldn't be edible at all because of their toxic shell. Farmers collect them by hand or with simple tools. Then they lay them out in the sun for a few days to allow the caustic liquid to dry before the processing begins. Then the cashew nuts are steamed. After steaming, the outer shells are removed. In the past, this was removed entirely by hand, but the chemical would burn the skin. So today, most large cashew processing facilities use machines to shell the nuts. Then the cashew nuts are dehumidified. After dehumidification, the inner shell must be removed again because it can cause throat irritation when eaten. And cashews with the shell removed also sell for a higher price. Today, only large factories can afford the shelling machines. Smaller operations still rely on workers for this job. It's important to keep the nut intact without breaking it, as the price is higher for whole cashews. After shelling, the cashews go through multiple rounds of sorting by size and colour, and are also quality checked by both humans and machines. In 2022, the world consumed 1.99 million pounds of cashews, making it one of the most popular and valuable nuts globally, worth over $8 billion today. Most of the nuts are made into nut butter. This creamy spread is a staple in many households and offers a convenient way to enjoy the nutritional benefits of these nuts. The journey to creating nut butter begins with roasting, which gives the nuts a rich and nutty aroma. This step also helps loosen any remaining skin, especially for nuts like peanuts, almonds, and walnuts, which are often blanched before processing. Once roasted, the nuts are cooled and funneled into grinding machines along with seasonings. These industrial grinders operate at high speeds, breaking the nuts down into smaller and smaller particles. The friction from grinding generates heat, which naturally releases the oils within the nuts, creating a creamy consistency. Almonds and cashews achieve this texture more easily because of their higher oil content. Factories often test random samples from each batch to ensure they meet food safety standards. The finished product is then transferred into sterilized jars, sealed and labeled. These jars are vacuum sealed to maintain freshness and extend shelf life. In 2023, the nut butter market was valued at over $6.7 billion, with almond butter alone accounting for a significant share. In addition to traditional nut butter, there is a growing demand for specialty blends. Almond chocolate butter, walnut butter mixed with honey, or even protein-fortified options are gaining popularity in health food markets. Another popular nut product is nut milk. This type of milk has become a go-to alternative to dairy milk, especially for 65% of people worldwide who are lactose intolerant. China is home to a stunning array of traditional fruits, many harvested in vast quantities each year. In this video, we take a deep dive into how Chinese farmers have learned how to ace their traditional fruit harvesting and processing over centuries to become one of the world's largest and most efficient systems. Have you ever seen a fruit so massive it could double as a basketball? Meet the pomelo, king of citrus. They can grow up to 12 inches in diameter and weigh up to 4.5 pounds. When it's time to harvest, only the fruits with the perfect golden green hue and a citrusy aroma are selected. Among the many varieties grown in China, the honey pomelo is loved globally thanks to its juicy, mildly sweet flavor and low acidity. It's sought after, and each fruit can fetch between $3 and $8 on international markets. For over 2,000 years, these giants have also been associated with the Mid-Autumn Festival in China, where its round shape symbolizes family unity and reunion. Did you know their thick, bitter peels are transformed into candied treats in Guangdong? Paired with tea, it's a local favorite. Annually, China produces over 4 million tons of pomelos, exporting them to over 50 countries. More than 40% of this supply comes from the lush, subtropical orchards of Fujian and Guangdong. In the Tang Dynasty, Emperor Xuanzong and his beloved consort Yang Guifei were so obsessed with this fruit that they demanded it to be delivered overnight. Over 2,000 years have passed, and the trees that produce the lychee that the royal families used to eat are still standing strong in a small village in Guangdong. Farmers handpick them in clusters at midnight or early morning to keep them nice and fresh. The highest branches can grow up to 40 feet or 12 meters tall. A skilled picker can gather up to 100 pounds or 45 kilograms of lychees daily. Today, China is the largest producer of lychees globally, harvesting 3.1 million tons annually, with its sweet bounty primarily grown in Guangdong, Guangxi, and Fujian provinces. The most coveted variety is the Feijiao, selling up for $2.50 per pound locally and even more abroad. These lychee lose quality rapidly, often within 48 hours, so the fruit is flash chilled to 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius and sealed in a vacuum sealed lock to seal in the freshness. During peak season, exports exceed 80,000 tons annually, primarily to Southeast Asia, Europe, and North America. Beyond fresh consumption, lychee is dried into lychee nuts, a chewy, caramel-flavored delicacy. The drying process involves sun-drying the fruit for 3 to 4 days, followed by gentle roasting over charcoal. This is jujube, also known as Chinese dates. It has been cultivated in China for over 4,000 years and is still a key ingredient in traditional Chinese recipes. The most popular variety is the dongzao or winter jujube, prized for its large size, crisp texture, and high sugar content. They thrive in extreme temperatures in the arid regions of Hebei, Shaanxi, and Xinjiang. Workers often let the fruits dry out on the trees before collecting them using a special method like this. On the market, fresh dongzao jujubes typically sell for $2 to $3 per pound, or $4.40 to $6.60 a kilogram, while dried jujubes fetch higher prices due to their concentrated sweetness. Jujube is also a symbol of prosperity in Chinese weddings. It is part of the marriage bed ceremony, where it's placed along with peanuts and lotus seeds to wish for fertility and a happy family. I bet you didn't know, but China grows more apples than any other country, 46 million tons a year to be exact. That's nearly 55% of the world's apples. But here's the shocking part. Despite being the world's largest producer, China only exports a tiny fraction of its apple harvest. Shuangzi and Shuangdong province lead the charge, with hand-picking practices that ensure each apple is picked without a bruise. Among 23 impressive native apple varieties, the Japanese-born Red Fuji apple dominates, accounting for 70% of China's yield. The Chinese name for apple sounds like peace, making it a popular gift during New Year when people exchange apples as a symbol of peace. These crisp, sweet fruits fetch $1 to $2 a pound, or $2.20 to $4.40 a kilogram. They are carefully cooled to 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius right after picking in order to maintain peak freshness. Down in the tropical provinces of Guangdong, Guangxi, and Yunnan, bananas thrive in the humid climate. China produces over 13 million tons annually, making it Asia's second largest producer. Harvesting bananas is a highly coordinated effort. Workers carefully cut the massive bunches using machetes, which can weigh up to 110 pounds or 50 kilograms. The fruit is then transported by a machine to avoid bruising. Farmers monitor clusters for uniform ripeness, typically when a fruit reaches 75 to 85% maturity. This ensures bananas are firm enough for transport but will fully ripen upon reaching consumers. The Cavendish banana is the most popular variety. Fresh ones sell for 30 cents to 50 cents a pound, or 66 to $1.10 per kilogram, and are treated post-harvest to slow ripening. They're then packed in temperature-controlled boxes, usually set to 57 degrees Fahrenheit or 14 degrees Celsius for shipping. Domestically, bananas dominate the market, driving a $4 billion annual industry. If you've never tasted a bayberry, you're missing out on a sensory explosion. Bayberries, or yangmei, are as striking in flavour as they are in appearance. They are native to southern China and have long been celebrated for their tangy sweet flavour and deep ruby red hue. The fruit ripens in early summer and is highly perishable, so its harvest window is very tight. For this reason, they command premium prices. Fresh ones typically sell for $5 to $7 a pound, or $11 to $15 a kilogram. Did you know China produces over 4.5 million tons of mangoes each year? That's enough golden, juicy goodness to fill over 18,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools. And trust me, you'd want to dive right in because they are seedless. While mangoes didn't originally come from China, the country has absolutely nailed mango farming, climbing the ranks to become the second largest mango producer in the world. On average, a single worker can collect 880 pounds or 400 kilograms of mangoes per day in peak season. They fetch around $1.50 per pound or $3.50 a kilogram at local markets and command higher prices when exported. Traditional Chinese farmers have turned mango preservation into an art form. They slice the fruit into thin strips, spread them across bamboo racks, and let the tropical sun work its magic.